Well, my next guest is a familiar face who's part of the New Zealand psyche. He's been on our screens for 3 decades, starring in the 80s TV soap opera Gloss, onto Shortland Street, Homeward Bound. He's appeared on the big screen. He's been in the film Heavenly Creatures. And more recently, he is the public face of the New Zealand Civil Defence, urging us to get ready and get through. And this month, he's morphed into New Zealand's answer to Kevin McLeod with the local architecture series Art and the Architect. So he's a busy man. Peter Elliott, welcome into the program.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Nice to be here.
Nice to see you back at our screens.
Well, it's been a while since I've done anything like this. Really, it's nice to be back. And mind you, it took forever to make. I mean, we started it. I think research started about 2010, and so it's by the time I think we turned the first soil at Otaki, and I think it was November 2010. So 3 years and 4 months, 5 months, something like that.
Well, that's the thing about building projects. They always take longer.
Exactly.
They always take longer.
That's exactly right. We were supposed to last about 18 months, and then of course we had earthquakes, 2 of them. In fact, we were shooting one at Ironbank when the first one happened on February the 22nd, and my sister's house fell down in Christchurch. So that was kind of interesting, and the interview obviously stopped. But and then we had the global financial crisis, and then the super cities all set up, and all those rules changed and everything. So most of the stories that we encountered had these major council issues going on, and of course most of the guys didn't want us to talk about those, because the more we put pressure on the council, the worse the rules and regulations became, and the more they got held up and the more it cost them, etc. So I'd go, what about the council, though? Aren't they a pack of assholes? Yeah. And they'd go, no, they're fine. In fact, they're quite reasonable. They've, and you go, that's not good for camera, though, is it?
Building is Shakespearean, isn't it? I mean, it's full of tragedy and humour and creativity.
Yes, and bathos. I mean, because you're gonna change your stance very rapidly. I think to take on a job like some of the sizes that these guys have done is, in this day and age, is pretty brave.
Yeah, I've just done it myself.
Oh, really? You built a house?
No, I renovated my house.
Oh, right.
I said I wasn't going to do it in winter. Started on June the 10th. It's going to take 3 months. Took 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And double a fee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with us. We did the same thing with our house, and we went to the architect and said, look, we can afford to do X, Y, Z. And they said, yep, well, you can do that. For that, we took it to the quantity surveyor. They said, it'll cost you double that. So we thought, well, we'll only do half the job. Yeah. So we only did the back of the half, and it still cost us double.
And when you did your renovation, wasn't that also at the time when you lost your job at Shortland Street? And so
it was, yes. It was very difficult. I'd just been working on the renos I'd had accumulated an enormous amount of leave over a period of time. And I decided that I would work on the house and save a little money. So I was the bum boy around the show, doing everything that I could think of. And I'm fairly handy with a hammer, but pretty useless as far as these guys were concerned. But I spent a lot of time there and went back to the street, and they said, yes, thanks, Mr. Elliott, we'll dispense your services now. And I went, oh, that's fantastic, isn't it? It's lovely. I've just got this enormous mortgage and no way to pay it. Choice.
Yeah. Always happens.
Yeah.
So in your travels, in your 3.5 years of looking at New Zealand architecture, we're always been very proud of our architects, and of course the elegant shed, as David Mitchell once called our architecture. Is it still healthy in your eyes?
I think what's happening here at the moment is that we're developing our own form of architecture. I mean, we're definitely in love with the box form. There's no doubt about that. But there is something about the New Zealand landscape and being able to put your house in it that occasions that sort of design. The long, low, open at the front, lots of glass. And of course the new techniques of building in concrete and so forth are efficient and fast, so that's a major. And a lot of it is sort of put together, so it's assembled off-site and then put together. So it's an interesting process, and I think that the way that our architects are designing it really fits the way that we start to see. I mean, we've moved away from the breezy old bungalow that was or
indoor outdoor flow.
Yeah. And I think what's happening now is that there is a new sort of we take advantage of every possible benefit in a section, which is when my house was built in 1952 originally, it was built to face the street. It had all little gables and windows and doors and everything, and it all had little nooks and crannies, and everything faced the street, of course. And the view out the back is 180 degrees of the harbour from the Waitex round to Kauri Point, and you go. And it was all closed off. It was a knitting room, and it had flute on the side of it. And you went, so we opened all that out. And I think that's essentially what happened, is that people have learned to maximise what they've got.
And long-form television, you know, I loved Captain's Log when you travelled around New Zealand, and I love Art and the Architect. But the problem with these things is they take so long, and we do so little of them these days. If you go to TVNZ Heartland, you'll find you and Gary McCormick on there, you know, almost 24 hours a day. But it's not made anymore. Why not?
Well, I think largely that's down to the advent of reality television. And that it's relatively simple to make.
But you're doing reality TV.
Yes, but it's a different form of reality TV. It's reality TV is where you excuse me, headphones. Reality TV is where you have people that are of specific type put into situations and then put under pressure and then pressure cooked, and when they fall apart they go, wow, is that awful? And you play favourites and you vote them off and that sort of thing. That's your reality TV. It rates its socks off.
Cheaper, quicker.
It's relatively simple to make, and the thing is that the ratings are all powerful at the moment, and of course because it's also of its moment. I mean, and of its moment I mean microseconds. You know, within the week.
Who watches New Zealand Got Talent from a year ago?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know,
so it's absolutely time specific, and so as a consequence, it's very popular and it rates really well. So. It's they're caught really in a cleft stick. Whereas long form television takes a lot longer to make. It brews over a period of time, and it's not lethargic, but it has benefits that come. Yeah. It's still a 40-minute program which you get, but or 40.
But it adds to our knowledge.
And there's something about it that is contemplative, which I find lovely. You know.
That is, in fact, the man who's putting in my furnace right now as part of my renovations. So,
what is his name?
Glenn. Furnace Glenn.
Furnace Glenn.
I've got Builder Gary.
Right.
Builder Gary. Furnace Glenn. You know. Burger Alarm Bill.
Yeah,
it's all there.
So Glenn's here to tell you that it's just gone up 3 times.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Now let's get it into you. Do you prefer doing the long form documentary type programs that you've done so well, or do you prefer inhabiting other characters as actors, which you did so well with Gloss and Shortland Street and others?
Wow. Okay, big question. Look, there are various parts of my personality. I do love acting. I do like taking on a character and working and that sort of thing. There is a stress element in acting that I have got worse at, I think, as time goes by. I find it incredibly stressful now to keep doing that, and I think mostly it's to do with having done it for so long. You know, I'm reaching a point where I'm going, do I love it as much as I used to? Perhaps not. But and then suddenly you get a role and you go, oh my God, this is fantastic. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So perhaps it's just a taste thing. But whereas the long form documentary is something that I mean, I've always had an inquiring mind. I like to find out about stuff, and it's a gift. So I love the process. I enjoy the process of finding out about things. I love it when things unravel and they make connections, and I go, oh, this is how this works. And I adore that side of it, and I get stimulated intellectually and emotionally by what's happening. And I love the people that are going through this stuff because you can empathise with them. So from that point of view, I really adore that process of documentary.
And you're becoming more of a social commentator as well. I mean, you're turning up in current affairs panels. You're prepared to stick your head over the barricade and say, this is what I think.
Well, I think I'm probably a very centrist sort of person, and politically, I swing both ways as it comes. I believe in self-responsibility, but I also think we should take care of the state, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's true. And often what I see is insanity. Is like people get so fixated on the minutiae of the idea that we're not looking at the bigger picture. And I find myself going, well, why don't we just do this? And so I find myself sort of sticking my head over the parapet for what I think is normal, or the attribute of common sense, which I think is we've drifted miles away from. I think we're so in love with sensation and with immediacy that we've lost the ability to get a bigger picture. And sometimes I feel a need to stick my head up and say, hang on, just.
And you're good at it too. You're good at. You do a good rant, dare I say? and your last one, has your daughter got her driver's license yet?
Oh, good Lord! Yes. Well, one of them has.
But you complained, didn't you, quite bitterly about the fact that how many tests did she fail? 5, and yet her driving is actually very good.
Her driving's very good, yes. In fact, we've had 4 tests and only 1 success so far. And those tests, Furnace Bill isn't giving up, is he? Furnace Glen, no. It's gone up again. But no, and of those tests, none of them were testing the driving. It was all about the car. And we had these litany of little failures that occurred at the day, like a brake light refused to work on the day, and it was working when we got home, or wasn't working at the time. The horn, same thing, had to have a little.
And I think what you got most angry about is that's $90 to do that.
Every time.
Fail.
Come
in again, $90, and it's becoming too expensive for our kids.
Well, yes, and it is becoming enormously expensive. And I thought, look, why? It's a driving test. Surely we can go, take a warning, the vehicle isn't up to scratch, something's wrong with it, fix it when you get home, which is what a cop would do. But no, they instantly fail the test. Now, it's of no consequence as far as I can see. So why I felt upset was that the kids were being penalised. My daughters were in tears. They were straining to learn this and make sure they knew every single nuance of the road code. We're both driving very, very well, but weren't even getting to drive, and it's cost us a fortune. So but.
Well, good on you, because I totally agree with you there as well. In fact, your daughter Lucy, though, isn't she following in your footsteps? Have you failed to say, don't be an actor?
Absolutely, don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. Look, it was advice I followed for many years. Encouraged my children, not a whit, I have to say, to get on the stage, knowing how difficult it would be, but also knowing that if they wanted to do that they had to have their own drive, and that no amount of me haranguing them from the wings would make them better or whatever. So they have to have their own drive. And Lucy, God bless her cotton socks, did some amazing auditions and worked really hard, and has worked her way into the core cast. And she's done it off her own bat. And so obviously, she has a skill all of her own, and I applaud her, and I'm very proud of her. And she's continuing to work and grow and that sort of thing. So and I will totally claim responsibility for producing that, even though it had nothing to do with it.
You have to support their dreams. Who supported your dreams?
I guess my folks supported my dreams. My mum certainly did. When I told my father, I said, you got to remember that when I was becoming an actor, it was back in the late 70s. Yes, late 70s. And I said to my father, Dad, I've decided what I'm going to do with my life. He said, no, you son. And I said, I'm going to be an actor. And he looked at me, and there's a sort of silence for about 5 seconds, and he went, oh, well, it's your life, son. like I just told him I wanted to be a street sweeper. I think he thought I was making a declaration of homosexuality, which at the time would have frightened the crap out of him. I want to be an actor.
Well, at least he didn't put you off, because we've enjoyed all your performances, and particularly, as I said, your long-form documentaries, and long may it continue, and long may you keep on getting the gigs.
Thank you, Andrew. It's very kind of you to say.